There we go. It's November 16th, it's Thursday. It's bi-weekly, so we have Deep Funding Town Hall today. We don't even have to throw up the slides, because most of the people here know already, and for those who don't and watch the recording, you're watching or participating at Deep Funding Town Hall, which is a bi-weekly community event, which is hosted by folks from the Deep Funding community itself, quite some folks from the SingularityET Ambassador program, and it's all nicely done together with the folks from SingularityET Foundation, which we usually have joining in here as well. Right now, we are in an intermediate state where Deep Funding Round 3 going closely slow down. The onboarding of the awarded teams is happening right now. Means we take this in-between times to speak about all relevant and important things for previous and next Deep Funding rounds, processes, tools, structures, and whatnot. And these days, we focus on some topics of governance. That's pretty much it. The town halls on a bi-weekly basis. It's an open community call. Everybody's able to join, to participate, and to contribute. Main purpose is really to get people to know each other, to meet each other, because it's where a lot of good stuff happens, especially when we speak about ourselves as community. Then, by sure, we want to know each other. Ideally, we find some cool people, like-minded people, with which we can collaborate and help each other in building the Deep Funding ecosystem and community as whole. So this is a place where everybody steps out a little bit from their own projects and shares a collective view on what Deep Funding as whole is about. And with that, usually how these things happen is that now Raphael or Jan, which represent the 1.5 full-time members on Deep Funding right now, they give some updates, announcements on whatnot. And after this, Jan will take it away and will continue the discussion. See, you will, I think you do. And we continue the discussion from where we stopped 2 weeks ago. Raphael, or Jan, whoever won.
Thank you, Felix, and thank you all of you here and those that are also watching later. It's very important for us to keep these town halls going on in a way that we can give some updates, news from what we are doing in Deep Funding, right? And for today, I will be very quick. It's an update on the developing processes in round 3. We had previously the Welcome Awarded Teams meeting about 2 weeks ago, and then we had another one, second edition, if I may, trying to get as much as possible time zones, because now that we have 43 awarded teams, we are definitely across 24 time zones. If the Mattermost tells me the right thing. So yeah, that's nice to have, but it's also a challenge to deal. And talking about that, and also as you mentioned, Felix, we have 1.5, I would say 2 people working into these processes. And there are a lot of processes, right? So we have to deal with that carefully, because we have sensitive tasks as the one that we are developing now, which are the contracts. We are at this point after the welcoming call. We are creating the template for the contracts, and also making copies for each of the teams for them to input their data. Imagine that in the portal that we use for proposing, we don't require even a name. The account can use, for instance, not even an email. The account can use the wallet address. So there are a lot of overhead for us to make this happen, and to get data, input data, analyze data as well from the contract. It's not simply, oh, let's sign the contract, right? And for that we have processes that we are passing now. What happened differently from the welcome call that we had? It was we have changed the way we're making this process. We went through first the desire was to have the teams itself working in the contracts, inputting the data and creating the copy of the template, and then we would be reviewing, we as Deep Funding reviewing and sending for signature. And now we have this decentralized process towards the community. So members of the community are doing this process instead of the awarded teams. We have this amazing 9-people team that were previously selected, and are also from the eligibility review process, which we call Review Circle, and they are performing this. So please, if you didn't receive yet your contract, we sent them yesterday, a few today, reach out through reviews at deepfunding.ai, and then we can solve the problem of the contracts, okay, for being sent to you. Next step after the signature of the contracts, which are going to be made by Dropbox Sign, which is a specific app to perform that. We are going to start to reviewing the milestones. And for that, we are going again to use or to have this decentralized team, each one in your background, business or technical, depending on the pool that proposal was awarded. We are going to have these members reviewing your milestones and potentially making the clearance for payment as well. Okay, so just for you to understand a brief overview of the complexity that we are involved at this point. We have other ecosystems, for instance, that I know for sure that doesn't even have contracts. So it's way easier, right? So we can't compare a Deep Funding program with a program that doesn't have, for instance, contracts, because it's going to be way easier to operate in that environment. Same for milestones. We are developing a very nice platform that portal that is going to handle a lot of this overhead as well, as other ecosystems already have. But we really have to have your patience and also commitment to the process that we have to pass through. There are some significant rules and needs that we have to perform. Okay, so now, without further delongs, Jan, please, are you going to give some words as well? Thank you all.
No, I have nothing to add.
No,
I think just be quiet this time. You're doing a great job.
Okay, thank you. So Felix, back to you.
Wasn't it too young? I think that's the part where we then kick off actually the final part of today's town hall. So continuing the discussion from where we stopped 2 weeks ago. Or am I wrong?
If I may, now we can jump into Rojo's topic about the rewards and the methodology that we use to calculate the new extra rewards.
Yeah, sure.
I have no idea what's on the agenda for the rest. I was just curious what's on the agenda. I know that Rojo has a very interesting topic, which I would love to join. I wasn't aware if there was anything else on the agenda, but from my point, I don't have anything other prepared.
Nice. Then it's up to you, Rojo.
And good to see you on camera, Rojo.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been a while, isn't
it? Do this more often, Rojo. Beautiful to see you.
I'm self-conscious. I don't like to be on camera. I guess I should share my screen. So, okay, host should enable that.
Well, you can. Just click the button again. You should be able to do so.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Hopefully this is gonna be short, not too much unnecessary details, I would say. Okay, I guess this is in newest or the first, I would say, presentation from the review circle. I'm a member of the review circle. I think a couple are here with us as well, led by Mr. Raphael and Jan. Okay, so there was a decision by the focus group to give basically extra rewards to contributors or commenters, people who commented on basically proposals in Deep Funding Round 3. At the first, we had initial rewards, and so the initial rewards basically follow the approach of Deep Funding 2 with the minor tweaks. Basically, the more comments you made, the higher your score was. The more likes and positive interactions on your comments, the higher your score was. Dislikes are worth much more than likes. Dislikes affected you negatively 4 times more. I'm not sure about the number, but Jan knows the specificities in here. And basically, you know, there was a final score. Based on this score, you received some rewards. In case you kind of were part of the commenting process. Not everyone got the rewards. There were some benchmarks and everything. No need to go to details. The problem with the metrics specified before, there was an opening basically to game the system, which is expected and which is what happened. There was a rise of automated comments, bots, blah, blah, blah. And we suspect there was a form of non-genuine likes pattern as well for some profiles. And some profiles engaged in dislikes also. Dislike spree, which affected many contributors. Many genuine contributors basically received less rewards than they would have otherwise got. And some even expressed it in this platform that they were desensitive. I don't know how to pronounce that, but anyway, they basically were stopped from engaging more. Okay. Now, that problem went to the focus group, and we were kind of waiting for a decision from that, or at least a suggestion, not a decision. The focus group basically decided to reward contributors regardless of the suspicions that everyone had. The decision was based on the lack of resources and evidence to exclude any form of any profiles from rewards. And also the focus group decided to reward the best commenters based on the quality of comments to show the appreciation of the work that they have done. Again, there was a willingness to give rewards to the people that had these beautiful comments and all these things, but no specific approach, let's say, was given. So then we were left out kind of with finding a certain approach, finding these good comments. How do you go about it? Should we go through all the comments, which we soon noticed that's quite infeasible, or not infeasible, but just not rational, I would say. Again, after that, we kind of met, we spent 1 hour thinking together, and we developed the following methodology. We started with ranking all commenters based on the number of unique people that commented on their posts. So we look at a certain person, we look at all the comments that this person did, and we look at the unique people that commented on their comments, or basically interacted with them in terms of commenting. We then filtered for only the commenters that had 4 or more interactions with unique people. This gave us, at the end, a total of 100 people. And now we have a population that we can review without having this overhead of too much comments to go through. Then we started with anonymizing these commenters by giving them a number. So we didn't want the reviewers to actually see the name of the person that they're reviewing. That's one. We then generated 3 random comments from each of the contributors. So again, some of these contributors had close to 100 or even more comments. So even for one person, you have 100 comments. And if you want to do all of them, not a very good idea. So we generated for each person, again, 3 random comments. And these comments were reviewed by at least 3 people. So we had a group that had 3 people, a group that had 4 people. And again, each one of these comments you had at least 3 people going through them, they give them a score from 0 to 3. 0 being automated, clearly, BS kind of comment, and 3 best comment. Very good, detailed, informative, constructive comment. And then we average the score for each commenter and rank them based on that. We rank the commenters based on the scores given by the reviewers. Results. Based on the methodology, we picked the highest ranked 10 individuals based on that basically score that they got from the reviewer. And then we have some conclusions. First thing, the process of ranking contributors based on the quality of the comments was smooth, surprisingly. Such process can be implemented to reward contributions in the future. So instead of having that the blind process of just looking at numbers, we can actually include the human process of looking at these comments and giving them a certain score. And again, the same methodology would work best because, again, you don't want to look at all the comments. Otherwise, it takes too much time. And it's like literally like doing the comments twice, if you think about it. Yeah, the process can minimize the impact of bots and automated contributions. Also, small detail, list of awardees is not disclosed due to possible changes based on your feedback. Again, if you want, if you have any, let's say, feedback after this session or anything that you would like to specify, you can email in this email reviews@deepfunding.ai. And that's, I guess, about it. What do you think? Do you have any questions or anything?
Oh, thank you for sharing, Roger. That's quite a well thought out system you guys put in place to determine the top contributors. I'm super interested in how long did this process take you?
The whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's hard to think about. I mean, the first part, which is like automatically determining the number of interactions and all, that was like around like 16, 17 hours to kind of yeah, just to understand the data. Like we didn't have any, we had like kind of some what do you call it, like an Excel sheet that had all this raw data, but there was no comment on it, so you have to kind of like look at it and understand how this whole database work, and then like, yeah, just a lot of errors and dealing with code. But anyway.
And the contributors that you found were trying to rig the system, were they mainly bots, or were they also clearly members from our community?
Again, this depends on the person that you will ask. So if you ask me the question, maybe someone else will answer differently. But I would say most of the let's say the accounts that were like clearly a little bit off were anonymous, actually.
Oh, okay.
So no face, no name, basically. Yeah. Jan, go for it.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things I could remark on. First of all, let me say thank you for doing this work and being there for us and for Raphael, and being very independent about this. Raphael had something to do with it, but I was completely out of the loop. I didn't need to care about it. You took care of it. And great job, well done. Thank you. Thanks a lot, you and all the other people working on it. So I think the whole process lead time was about a week or something.
Yeah, even less, I would say.
Wow, amazing.
Also, small comment, I'm just the face of the presentation. I don't want anyone to be confused that I did this or something. There is like a whole team of 9 people that worked really hard to get this done in the smallest or the shortest time. So again, I'm just presenting.
Could you mention the whole team, please?
Okay, I'll try. I don't want to forget anyone. That's the problem. Mauro is getting
just to recognize their great work.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
About that, we are not necessarily disclosing the persons that are in the circle, because since they are reviewing, it has some sort of privacy, because at some point they can bring some difficult decisions, and we don't want them being attacked and so on. Rojo, for instance, is here because, thank you, Rojo, again, following Jan's words, because yeah, someone has to, right? And but in general, Mauro, that would be the situation. Sorry about that. I would love to, but I'm pretty sure they are.
I was about to start naming people.
We just don't want these people to get bribed, right? So the only person you can bribe is Rojo here.
And I am open to bribes. You can find me on Twitter at
reviews at deepfunding.ai.
All right. I have so first a very small question on the process that I think I understand, but just to check. You got random comments from the 100 commenters that you are contributors that you selected, right? And then you have three comments of them to review of each of the 100.
Yes. So for each one of the 100s, we generated 3 random comments, basically.
So before that, you did a filter on. You only filtered out commenters that had more than 4 comments overall. That is overall their comments.
Not 4 comments. 4 interactions. 4 interactions with unique people. So basically, the reason for that is I can make 1 comment in my whole life, for example, and that could be like the best comment in the world, and that's it, right? And I could go home and then get some rewards for that. But what we wanted to actually look at, we wanted to look at the people who consistently interacted with proposals and consistently had quality comments.
Yeah, well, that is something we can debate whether 1 comment is what is quantity versus quality, basically, and whether that 1 comment. I remember myself making once 1 comment, which was extremely important, and well, I got well rewarded for it, but it gave me this job ultimately. But so yeah, so I'm open there. And these comments that you selected from these people were completely random.
Yeah, well, that's arguable because there is nothing random, but we use the random library from Python. I don't know, you know.
That's good enough. That works good enough for this case. Yeah, I have a comment on that as well. So the question is, maybe there is a commenter that gave 4 contributions, and maybe there's one that gave 200 contributions. So with the one that gave 200, there's a larger chance that you're just picking out the 3 worst ones or something. Where somebody only created 4, and really then probably they are well thought through. I'm assuming that. And for this time, it's not so much of a problem, and nothing is a problem. But it makes me think about the next time. Is that the same thing we want to do next time? I'd like to have a discussion on this, but first let me ask something else about this process right now. You divided the group into, or the group in 2 subgroups, and you gave them both 50 contributors and 3 comments, 150 comments to look at. That's a lot. And then they rated it. And after they rated it, did you just create did the numbers and added up and divided it, or did you do anything else?
Like, okay, there was 3 comments. Each one of the comments was graded for, let's say, for 1 person we have a row. There were 3 comments. Each one of the comments was given, let's say, a grade or like a number by, you know, our reviewers. We took basically for each one of the comments, and then we averaged it out for that person, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we gave an average to that person, basically. So just adding and dividing.
One thing that you did not do, which I think would bring additional value, is talk about it. So did you talk about the results? So maybe these people would get different conclusions, who is best, who is worst. And very often if you talk about this and you give arguments, well, this comment is really insightful because you saw this one sentence, he really studied it very well. And then maybe somebody else says, oh, wow, I read over that, I didn't see it, but now you mention it, yeah, this is really clever. Or the other way around, I thought this was a great thing. And then somebody else says, well, I accidentally saw the exact same text somewhere else that he used it there as well. So talking about things, I'm trying to get that also. It's an important ingredient, let's put it like that, in the peer reviews that we try to get done. And because that step was missing at some point, we discarded some of the reviews that were made because they weren't properly discussed in that group. So if we are having algorithmic ratings on one hand, and then a fully human based review on the other hand, I think we would benefit from that even more if we have this discussion round after doing the first thing, talking about it, and then seeing what is the consensus in such a group, if somebody needs to be convinced. You know Scrum Poker, maybe, right? Do you know the concept of Scrum Poker? I'll explain also for those who don't know it. So Scrum is an agile methodology, and the team is self-empowered to steer themselves. And one thing they do is before they have a sprint, a couple of weeks of work, they go over the backlog and they try to estimate in story points, could be hours, what effort is needed for something. And the way it works with Scrum Poker is that, first of all, people don't talk, they read, and then everybody gives their rating. I think this takes 4 hours. Somebody else thinks it takes 8 hours. And there's this one person that thinks it takes 2 weeks. Now, what you don't do in this situation is take the average, because that's probably wrong anyway. But maybe you can ask the person who says 2 weeks why he thinks that's so complex. Maybe he saw a complexity that the others didn't. So after giving these grades, they talk about it, and especially the most extreme ones. Could also be the other way around, that 10 people thinks it's 2 weeks and one person, no, it's 4 hours. I already have the script, I can just implement it here, it's 4 hours. So you need to talk about those things, right? So I think that methodology of first unbiased rating, because if you start talking, there will always be the loudest voices, like mine here, that will get most of the attention. So it's good to have first an unbiased voice of everybody, but then I think it would benefit to have and it doesn't have to be a week, right? If you talk an hour with a group of 3 people about the results, or even about this top 10, and maybe one person says, well, you know, there's this one person there, he's now on 13, but I really liked him. So not sure what the others think about it. Maybe we should remove the slides so we can all see each other while talking.
Yeah. Sure. I think it's a good input actually. On the first point, which was about the number of random generated messages, I can see that point. I think it's a really good point. We decided upon 3 just because of the time restriction, to be honest. But to my taste, I would say something from 5 to 10 would be good, because then, you know, the probability plays on your favor. Still, again, this is probabilities. Nothing is certain here. You're not going to get the full picture, but I think 5 to 10 can give you a trend about the person, how well are they commenting. On the second point, I think it's a good idea. At first, I thought you said they should talk from the beginning, and I was like, no, that's not a good idea. Then, if actually there was a first round where, they give the grade, then they meet, then there is more insight, as you said. There is more information being shared, which is, I saw this comment multiple times being copy-pasted. The others might think it's a good comment, but if you have the information that it's a copy-pasted comment multiple times, it's very crucial to basically disregard this comment. So I think it's a good insight on that front, and it could be implemented, of course.
Thank you. Walter has his hand up.
Walter, go for it.
Oh, thanks. Looking at the motivational systems, for me, professional in the field, I'm entirely not motivated by, $100 in rewards. It's all about supporting fellow developers on the projects that I deem worthwhile, or people I work with professionally, let's say, in different venues, including the ambassadors programs. So to me, that we really best change focus to that and promote non-monetary but socially mediated ways of motivating people. And I think that has been done when people in the know have advised projects. Hopefully some relationships have been built. I'm kind of working more on that myself, with just a few select projects I'm interested in succeeding. So that, I think, maybe that whole change of direction would be best.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment, Walter. And that's an interesting topic for the next round. Yeah, so we're now still looking at the previous round, what to do about that one. And actually, it so happens that next week we'll have a listening session organized by the focus group about particularly this topic. Should we or should we not use rewards in reputation and this kind of thing? So yeah, we'll have a whole session next time and some breakout rooms and things. So yeah, please, I hope you will be there and share your thoughts and we can have a good discussion on that. Not against having that discussion right now, but because I know we have that session next time, it would be a little bit of pity if all arguments are already shared here and now. But I agree with you. There are both sides to that. It's not for me, it's not that simple a solution whether we should or should not reward. But I'll keep it at that. I'm very tempted to start bringing arguments, but I'll leave that for next week. Rojo, another question here. So about these three things that you filter out, if we would use the same process next time again, maybe next to algorithmic, maybe instead of algorithmic, that's another topic. Personally, I think I hope to see a trajectory where algorithmic gets more and more reliable, and therefore also more important. And maybe the manual one will have a different route, getting less and less, equally reliable, but less important because the algorithmic will do more of the work. But we're not there yet. And right now, I think this is a very good admission, how do you say that? Addition to the processes that we have. Question. Next round, if we would do it again, would you use the same process as you've done right now? Because now it was a fait accompli, right? We went through all this, and then after the round was finished, we decided to do this process. So next round, we can already start our thinking when the first proposals come in. So would that in any way change the approach? Could that? I mean, you don't have to have a ready answer. We can think about it. We'll have some time for that. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, on top of my head, I would say there are some minor changes that need to be made. Some of them could be adding the number of randomly generated messages. The library to do the initial rank is already there. I'm thinking actually to open source it, but I need to add some comments and to make it a little bit more readable. It looks horrible now. So once it's more readable, it will be open source, anyone can check it. and that could be literally used in the next round. It's already ready, right? That's one, I would say, yeah, increase the number of randomly generated comments, just to give more of a full picture for every person. And I would also make like a whole community meeting just to determine things like the benchmarks. The benchmarks are very important. We made a decision, right? 4 or more and these kind of decisions, but it's totally random. We could have chosen 3, we could have chosen 10. It doesn't matter. Like, really, it's quite confusing. And to be honest, we really chose 4 just because we saw 100 people and we thought like 100 people is good, so let's choose 4. And again, it could have been 3.5. It could have, well, that's not possible, but it could be 3 or 2, whatever. So that's something that I see necessary before doing that. But I totally think it's a good solution to be considered. I also have another point. The point is how to move more into the algorithmic side. One thing, for example, I was thinking about is to take the data that we already built from this extra rewards kind of round and to talk to the API, explain our process to what is it called? GPT API. To explain to him how we are grading these comments. Let them give that grade and let's compare it with what humans gave us as a grade. Let's see how reliable is it. Because we say it's not totally reliable, but do we actually do the experiment? I don't think so. So let's actually do the experiment. And we can use it, the same method next time, and then do the experiment again. And we will see. I mean, it's going to be more reliable, in my opinion, the more data you give it.
Is there anything holding you back to do that experiment already now?
No, nothing. I will do it. I mean,
so if you are thinking about using it next time, I think it would be a good value of your time to do that exercise right now to see what comes out, and then we can tweak it, and then the next time we can do it again. And if it again, suppose that it's on par with the human results, and next time again, yeah, then we can maybe at some point make a decision that we are able to rely on that. But yeah, it would be a very interesting experiment.
You know, Jan, what could be interesting? You said, let's make people meet after they give the initial. Let's actually make them meet with the score that the AI gave. Okay, what did the AI give that score, but it's a little bit too far from the score you gave? Yeah, explain that to me. And that could be interesting. Again, I will do the experiment right now. Again, what's holding me back is time, obviously. We had so many things going on. But once this is done, the experiment will be done.
If there's round table of people talking about the results, and it's the reviewers, and the 4th seat at the table is the AI. And then, yeah, I like it. Guillermo. No?
You just took the words out of my mouth.
Sorry.
It's the 5th guy at the table, and you know what? I did the experiment, not for the scoring, but for explaining how fast some of these commentators were jumping on the scoring board, and it was only needed to copy paste the mission statement of each proposal and having a good prompt, wording to the chat, and it was you can do it now, and it will answer what is copy pasted on the proposal board. That's how we figured out, and we started discussing this internally at the beginning, before it got totally automated, and wrote a post in Peter's initial supervisory council. Remember, that was the final. So yeah, having the tool and not sitting on the table today, it sounds it's not rational.
Yeah, what I wonder about, so every thing we do can be gamed, but also what we do manually could be gamed if we, so this time nobody knew. Next time maybe we will put forward some rules on how we want to do this next time, and then people can react to that. Either gaming or non-gaming, just react to that. And well, one thing that I wonder about, if you are only, so the first threshold is I need to have 4 engagements. And an engagement is that if I create 4 comments on 4 proposals, do I have 4 engagements? Or is it 4 thumbs up, thumbs down? Is that an engagement?
You need 4 different people to engage with some of your comments.
Ah, okay. All right, that's already a hard one to
you need to provide value to get that.
Other people. Well, of course, I can make two IDs and have one ID comment on the other one, but yeah, don't want to put any ideas in anybody's head here. But so if I would be smart about it and not like Walter say, I do it to support, but I would go here for the money. Maximize money with minimum effort. What I could do is say, well, I create 10 comments or I create enough comments until I see that I have these 4 reactions, even whether I do it myself or have somebody else do it. And then I'll try to make these 4 comments as great as I possibly can. Because if you're doing that randomized thing, then my 4 will come out and I've put so much attention on it, probably they are better rated than somebody else who created 200 and has to put that attention to all 200 of them. Now, the question, of course, here is, would that be a bad thing? So the question behind the question is, are we going for quantity or are we going for quality? Do we want to stimulate fewer feedback that is really good? In that case, this is an interesting approach. Or do we value people who create a lot of proposals? And maybe it's a mix of them, I don't know. Personally, in some proposals, I see a whole beard of comments, and a lot of them are duplicate or not that insightful or don't give that much added value. So in many cases, I would love to see a quarter of the comments, but then the real good ones. Felix.
Question actually, Roger, for the commenters in this round, did you take data from the commenters from previous rounds as well? Or was it really only specific on round 3?
Just round 3.
So this could be another interesting thing as well, because most likely you have really this nice way as well to evaluate engagements, how you did here already over time, where you said you don't want to have one single engagement, but you look on a chain of engagements actually, over a certain time frame. Then maybe map it as well to, for example, right now, when you think already about maybe algorithms for the next round, to say, oh, okay, they should include in some sort already the data set which you pull together for the commenters on this round. So build already this slowly emerging, let's say, in this regard, reputation, actually, in this regard, right? Some sort of.
You're already giving the answer, right? So I think it would be good to have a mix of things, right? To depending on what you're aiming for. Also, what kind of behavior you're rewarding. So if it's about voting weights, then it's not particularly important what somebody did this round. It's more his overall behavior and engagement that I would like to reward. If it's about actually giving monetary or AGIX rewards for the work people did, yeah, then I would like to look at what they actually did in this round and not take the other rounds into account. And the reputation, as we calculated over rounds, yeah, can be merged with this manual thing, and we can balance that in some ways. Raphael.
Yeah, on this topic of for voting, we might not be interested in what happened in the previous round. I would ask, for instance, shouldn't we be more careful, not careful, but should be more willing to have people that contributed in previous rounds, because these people might be more into the culture of what's happening and the needs of SingularityNET and Deep Funding itself. Therefore, they contributed in the previous round, so they are more involved. So they should have a higher weight in their voting, for instance. I think that that layer is very important as well. So if the person is engaged for more time than the other, perhaps would be beneficial to have heavier vote.
I have an interesting insight. First of all, this is what we're doing right now. We look at for so we have two calculations. One is where we look at what did people do and we give a reward. And we also have, well, actually that's more like a desire than an actual thing. Look at a reputation over multiple rounds and have that as a voting weight. So I agree with you there. The interesting observation, I published a couple of hours ago, the analytics blog that is sort of getting to be a kind of tradition to do that after each round to see what we saw. And I had a look also at strategic voting behavior. There was one very clear case of one project that, well, you can't fool me. This person did wallet splitting and he did those kind of things that we don't want, basically. He wasn't elected. Only, and I don't give all these, I don't compare results with or without results. There's only one result set, but in this special case, I did disclose that if we wouldn't have had reputation, he would have been granted this project. So the reputation in this case did help to fight off the wallet splitting effect, which is exactly what we tried to accomplish when we thought about this methodology. But there's also a dark side to this. Well, slightly more gray, I would say. You can see in the graphics that Robert Haas created. So all the wallets are black, but the ones that have additional reputation weight are pink. So you can see which ones do have extra reputation. So those wallets are our own very esteemed people that have done a lot of comments, that have looked at a lot of proposals. So they should have very nuanced voting behavior, right? In many cases, that is indeed the case, but not in all cases. There are also some people with a higher reputation that vote strategically in the case that they have a lot of wants that they give to projects. Now, I think actually no serious projects deserves a 1, unless you're clearly being fraudulent, stealing, whatever, doing something, a really bad behavior, or it's an empty proposal with only blank text or something. A 1, even the effort should be awarded with at least a 2 or 3 or 4. So if you're giving a 1 to not just one project, but to 10 projects, for instance, then I think you are engaging in what I would call strategic voting behavior. Now, it's not forbidden, right? With our local or national elections, people do it also. But it's not something that I would love to see. I would love to see everybody look at every project separately and give their opinion. What do I think of this project? And not giving one project a 1, even though that person worked very hard for that project and get that in there, so that another project has a higher chance. So yeah, reputation does fight off wallet splitting. At least in this case, it worked. It just worked. but it's not a guarantee for necessarily a guarantee for better voting outcomes. Yeah, think about it for a while. Let it sink in. Rubio.
Okay, yeah. So I want to get this. Are we saying that in this round it was still theoretical that the history was also accounted for? So was it because I felt like in this round we promised that this time around we're gonna be having like the reputation is not only gonna be on this present round but on prior rounds as well. Like I think what we thought was that the comment would be rewarded on the current round, which has always been the case, but the reputation would be historical. So could you put us through that? Like just give some clarity on that, because I think that's what we thought was going to be the case.
Yeah, the goal is, and it will be, to have the voting weights based on multiple rounds and rewards on the last round. That's the simple answer. It's a practical problem that we didn't do it just yet. We have now a new tool, which was in its first stage to calculate the reputation. And it's not yet at a stage that we can feed the results of previous phases into it. And I really want to, so those calculations are already pretty complex. And I want to avoid too much complexity, because that will also introduce risks of errors. So yes, we definitely want to look at a longer range, and then that's another thing that we didn't really define yet, have how do you call it, kind of regression and a decreasing weight the further you go back in time. Gradual reducing the weight. So we need to define an algorithm for that as well. So yeah, perhaps we can start with, I hope we can start with the next round, and otherwise the round afterwards. It also depends a little bit on the process that we will see in our reputation tooling. Other question. Why 10 winners? Why not 15, 20, 5?
Tommy, go for it.
Yeah, Rojo. Or somebody.
That's for Tommy to answer. I think Tommy has a great insight on that.
I like natural laws. I like Fibonacci. And I like this other law that breaks down to 80-20 or 90-10. It just repeats itself. And I forget the name of that law. Raphael, I think you can remind me what it is. But we
it's Pareto.
Essentially, thank you. Was he Brazilian too?
No, it could be, but no.
So we applied that law, and we basically used 80-20. Is how we came up with it, Jan. Again, as Rojo pointed out earlier, it was all random. As I put in the comments, we were under certain time pressures or constraints. We had no guides, no guardrails, no procedures, and we kind of made it up on the fly. And we had a discussion. Hey, do we give 90? How much are we giving? We didn't even know how much we were awarding. And I will tell you this, and you guys continuously amaze me. The review circle had again used 80-20, and we thought we were going to award a much less number that Raphael, and I think Jan, you were probably involved, but Raphael basically wanted to triple or quadruple what the review circle had thought we were awarding. And I think we came to a doubling. And again, that was on the fly, and we had no input in that. So, but you guys amaze me at times how thrifty you are working with these circles and small teams, and the rewards at time, which are really more an attaboy than major dollars. But at the other time, here you are over rewarding what we thought was reasonable to these contributors. And I am amazed at the generosity that you guys have towards the community that actually contributes like this. I am not easily impressed, but I must say I was impressed on that. So, but that's how we arrived at it, just using natural law, 80-20, came out nice. I had 10 fingers on my hands, 5 on each, 10. That made sense too. So you know, number of different reasons.
Yeah. So thank you, Tommy. And of course, you know, I had nothing to do with it. The last thing I want to do is give money away to you guys. So I'd like to keep it all for the treasury. So it's all Raphael's doing here. No, I'm just kidding. But on a serious note here. Well, I already complimented the review team on the work you're doing. I think it's great, and we can't do without you anymore. In fact, we talked about having an analytics circle. So I was just referring to the blog post I created. Having some, I think it's good to have some unbiased analysis after each round, and it's better that it's not just done by me centrally, but by a group, by a community. So I was thinking about creating a circle about this, but actually Raphael convinced me that the review team would be the perfect group to do that. And thinking about it, it makes perfect sense, because you are already, well, at least supposed to be neutral and unbiased and judging everything on their real merit. And you're already working with analytics and stuff. So yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense. So looking forward to having you involved in that as well. Going back to reward. So first of all, why rewards? Why in this case? So I don't want to start on the discussion for next week. Why in this case I thought reward is warranted. I believe it's very important to have an active community here, and I really value some of the people. I don't know who was rewarded by you people. I haven't seen it, and it has not been shared outside of the group, which is good. We're just talking about the process here. I know when I was looking over the proposals, I saw a few names popping up here and there, and I thought, my God, this person is putting so much effort in this. What a wonderful thing, and what a wonderful gift to all these proposals, that somebody is putting so much effort into this. So yeah, I really deeply appreciate some people's genuine effort, and therefore, yeah, I think it makes sense to give them some reward. Also, because I think it's important going forward that we have that kind of dynamics in the group. Of course, maybe we can achieve the same by social incentives, by other things, but that remains to be seen for the next round. And this round we were working on the methodology of rewards, and I wanted to make sure. So it's one thing to reward a bot. Okay. Pity, but not the end of the world. It's another thing that a very good and genuine person that put a lot of effort in it gets pushed down all the way in his rewards because there are 10 bots above him, and otherwise this person would have been much better rewarded. So it's for this person that we created, and these people that we created this process. Last thing is on the 10, where my question was actually on. So it's a manual process and it's subjective. So I understand the need for having clear-cut boundaries, because otherwise maybe this subjectivity is being stretched too far and it will be hard to defend your choices. So I'm totally with you. It was an open question. The only thing I can imagine that if you are going over all these rewards, that the consensus is, well, there were 14 that actually nobody had any doubt about. And then it starts to be grayish. Or there were 5 that nobody had a doubt about. And then it starts to be grayish. And yeah, there's something to be said to not have a fixed boundary threshold there. But yeah, suppose that you would, instead of, that you would grade them, that you would do it based on a grade. Everybody above an 8, I don't know, also Pareto could get rewarded. But this is just me thinking, and for the next round, it would be good that we have some, we filter out the learnings from this time and see if and how we want to repeat that next time. Rojo.
Yeah, I'd like to mention a couple of points. First one I would like to start with is Jan mentioned that we're not biased. That is not true. We are individually very biased, collectively not biased though. And I would like, and the more we have in our team, and that's why I encourage people to get involved in this more, because believe me, next round, there's going to be a lot more to be done. You know, it's going to be probably much larger than this one. But I encourage people, again, the more we got from you, the least biased we are. That's one. One other thing is, I keep thinking about this and why do we reward for? I mean, Jan mentioned it again, like there is a social aspect that you can give from that side, maybe without rewarding, but it's yet to be experimented with. And we have what Walter said, well, perhaps we should experiment more with the social side. But what I would say is that a good combination of both is usually ultimate. Like you don't want to go to one side rather than the other. And staying in the middle is usually better. And I would say, yeah, you want to reward good, let's say, input. But in the same time, you don't want to just reward something based on a certain metric that could be easily gained. And we saw it already. I mean, if you just say, okay, the more comments you have, the bigger the reward, some people are gonna, you know, I don't know, program a bot, copy paste, whatever the hell they're gonna do, but they're gonna get those rewards. I would also say, when this process happened, I had a great amount of doubt, to be honest. I was like, yeah, we did this metric interactions, I don't know what, and then all these kind of, and we have people like giving the grades. Is that even, you know, is that even trustworthy? I mean, and then I looked at the people that ultimately at the end we had the list of 10 people that will get the rewards, right? I went to the platform and I had to see their comments, just to, I don't know, just to check out of curiosity. And I looked at their comments and I was resting. I would say I felt at ease because I saw that most of their comments, if not all, were good. And I guess I could sleep at night. It's fine for me that these people got the rewards. That's fine. So yeah, there was probably some bias, but I saw that the result was basically fine.
It's good that you anonymized it before doing those reviews. That was a very good step. And we also mentioned, even before we started, we knew what the process is, that we selected 10 winners. That doesn't mean that all the others were not good, right? So it just says something about these 10. It doesn't say anything about all the other people that contributed. There are a lot of hands up, so I'll shut up now.
Maybe I go first. Probably just want to say, how do we get, when do we get to see the names? And so we can as well do like you did, go cross-check with those guys and see if that really works and if these guys really get meaningful contribution. Because again, that's gonna frame some of our decision. And on what we would want to comment, or that would frame our opinion on what we think the next round should be as we continue these conversations on how all of this should go in next round. So I want to know when we should be expecting that call, because I would like to go through, in fact, I want to go through diligently and see the kind of comments that were made, and also want to come back and be like Rojo, and be like, yeah, truly, I was somehow skeptical, but after going through, I think this works, and so let's just make it much more efficient and try to see if we can integrate that in next rounds. I hope that will be my own outcome as well. So, yeah.
Just a small comment on that. When you're gonna see the list, you're gonna recognize most of the names. Because yeah, I saw it and I was like, yeah, I read that. This person, I've seen him all over. Yeah, you're gonna recognize them. I think it's my time now. So regarding what Rojo say, sometimes I prefer that honest people get awarded if also there is people that trick the system also get awarded, because as I see it, being awarded for a work but makes it that the quality of the comment is better, and it happens to myself, right? To be honest, in Deep Funding round 2, I love to make inputs and get feedback, but it takes a lot of time. And when you know that it's awarded and that time is well invested, you made and have a little more time to do what you love, right? So working what you love, and you will never work one day of your whole life. So as I see it, for me, it's better to try to see how to avoid these people tricking the system, but keep awarding the great quality inputs, because when it happens to myself, indeed, in this Deep Funding round 3, that I don't have enough time to make the great comments, and when I start to see all those people that putting weird comments itself, I don't want to make a lot of and put so much effort on it. So for me, is that if we quit with the rewards, the quality and the people engagement will decrease instead of increasing. And at least for me, I prefer that in the past, some people would trick the system and game the system and break the system, but at least the good and honest people that is doing a great work will be compensated, and they will have an initiative to keep with the great work. Just my thoughts, and I hope that I express it well, because it just came to my mind.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So Rojo has his hand up. Let me just make this remark. So first of all, again, rewards or not rewards is topic for the next meeting next week. So we'll dive into that a little bit more deeper. The thought that crossed my mind is, regardless whether we reward in reputation or in tokens or in something else, the mechanics of it for next time would be interesting. So this time we went for 2 rewards basically, and again, whether it's AGIX or reputation is not so important right now, but 1 manual and 1 algorithmic, and the algorithmic was gamed and the manual one is harder to game. We could do it the same next time again, or we could do it differently and for instance allow the manual reviews to interfere or to overrule the algorithmic reviews, so that we only have 1 rating at the end, but the algorithm does, for instance, what you did already, Rojo, the first filter, and then we have a manual review that in some way takes out the bots and maybe adds a few people that were missed by the algorithm or something. So that's something, I don't have a clear recipe for that, but something that would require and deserve some further thinking.
Yeah, Jan, can I jump in there? I just want to say, please, guys, we must not agree with Jan on this. In case you think, because I know I've had some conversations with a lot of people who really think it's not okay to reward comment at all. So if we really want to have this comment, like this discussion, like next week listening session, it's gonna be purely for that. So let's come and just, so don't change your opinion, whatever opinion you have about on how we should solve this problem as an ecosystem, on your opinion, and let's try to see how we can discuss it in the next listening session, which is specifically for this particular topic, to see what should we do next? Like, what's the way out? Should we continue this way, or should we stop it altogether? So that's actually discussion for next week.
I was just going to mention a small note, just saying that, again, as Jan said, there is so many versions of this that can happen. On my side, from what I can do is do experiments, and that's what I'm planning to do. Run experiments. We have some data that could tell us at least something. Report on that data, let everyone see what's happening, what can happen, get feedback, reiterate whatever at the end, maybe get to some consensus. To what Mauro said as well, I believe, yes, whatever system we're going to develop, by the way, even after, for next round or the next round or whatever, it could be gamed. As long as we make that system public, it will be gamed. I can myself develop a way to game the system after developing the system. Because, again, that's what systems are for. They are to be gamed and reiterated indefinitely, basically. But all what we have to do is just make it a little bit harder for someone to do no effort and game the system. We want them at least to do some effort, right? And yeah, we're gonna reward some bots, or maybe we're not gonna reward anyone. I don't know at this point, but at least at the end, we know that we made it harder for the bad actors.
Guillermo, you're up.
Okay, sorry for that. So following, but just making a line between rewards. The circle opened the door for somebody to write down a blog about all this experience, and I jump in, and so wording the narrative of the experience has been part of all the process, and having round 2 in mind, I put down this short text that it transforms in a blog. And now, if you have the link, I invite you to vote for the title, because we are about to print. Right in this, in the last segment, there was the idea of a title for elevating the game. First, how important we understand this dynamic and interaction between developers. It's amazing. In my personal experience, I repeated plenty of times. It has been very, very good, not only for me, but for the proposal that I've been presenting, have been feeding ideas from all this amazing community. That on our side, and understanding that rewards on reviews is just one point, one part of the experiment. And we, in the new platform, we have the idea that maybe proposers can rate the comments and all of those things that you, Jan, are experimenting right now. And understanding that elevating the game and community is what we are here for, and it's the mission and vision of SingularityNET and objective, let's say, of Deep Funding. So I'm going to write something down and share it so everyone can jump in and put some inputs on some empty spaces for you to fill. As much as you do, it will be, I think we will have more variables, but what we can do better and different, leaving aside rewards, okay? That's the line. What we can do in the next round, different and better, to make it better, not only about new pools, how we can make collaboration more of a concrete and tangible experience. How many of these ideas can we put all together, and maybe I don't know if round 4, because you are already in the development, but we can be next rounds adding to the platform to make it even, the collaboration part being more nutrition. And having that collaboration and competition are always going to make a better final product. So I'll share it with you on the Telegram and all our channels too, where we can put together a file that can help to this.
Yeah, thank you. As for the platform, the new platform, we do indeed have, well, not so much a proposal rating reviews, but marking the ones they like best. So that's a new thing. How we will use that and rate that is a different thing. I haven't thought about that yet. We also have an option to upvote, downvote proposals, so that the ones that most people like will float to the surface, basically. Hope that helps. Of course, like anything, that could be gained as well. The best thing about having our own platform is that we can basically do what we want. So we can change whatever thing is needed, and we can add features and remove them. Will take a little bit of time, but to give you a little insight, now we're on the topic of platform. I hope it will be rolled out next week or something on deepfunding.ai, but it will not be very visible yet. The next thing we will do is migrate the current awarded proposals to the new format. Then we will ask the awarded teams, we'll send them an invite so that they can have a login on the new system. And then we can have them test the new proposal flow. And the new proposal flow is very different than it is in Sway, and I think it's much better. But we'll see. And then we'll let all who wants to go through the test. But what may be interesting is a few other things that we are aiming to change is right now if you have a proposal, the proposer is just saying, well, I have 4 team members and these are the 4 team members and this is why they're great. In our platform, all these team members will have separate profiles on the platform. So there will be a process that a proposer can invite the team members, and they have to log in, and then they can say, yeah, that's right, I'm indeed working at this project. Which will also open up a lot of other options. For instance, you can see the profiles of people, and you can see on that profile on which projects that person has been working. Another thing that will take a little bit of effort to do properly are the RFPs. We want to make sure that the RFPs are not just a proposal, but really well integrated in the platform and well structured, because we expect a lot from that as well. So those are just a few things that you can see coming in our new platform when it's properly rolled out. Sorry for taking the time. Mauro.
I was thinking, do you remember when we, at the end of Deep Funding round 2, start discussing if we will need to wait to start the round 3 for the portal or not? Now, when we see to the past, we can say that we take the great decision because we onboarded a lot of people that allow us to keep it relevant. The team itself regarding the website could see new features, bugs, etc. So I just want to highlight that, because sometimes we make decisions and we don't see the results at the moment, but when we see to the past, I think that decision was a great one.
Yeah, it was not without challenges. I saw some people having negative thoughts about some features and stuff, but that was expected. So there were no big accidents, I would say. I'm also glad with the decision, also because it gives us a little bit extra time to make the new platform even better. Otherwise, we would have rushed it a little bit, and then maybe by now we would have had that new round also. Yeah, I'm very happy with it, especially now this round is over and we can now fully focus on the new platform, because I think it will be good. So thank you, Mauro. Yeah, thanks for looking back on that decision. That's also important.
Yeah,
Henrik.
Good thought. And I have a similar question, actually. So I'm curious if you have any target dates on the next round.
It came up in a couple of conversations, and I don't think it will be before Christmas. I think that would be rushing it. So it will be beginning of next year, and when exactly I don't know. It's also a little bit tied up to the scope, and that's another interesting topic, maybe for another town hall or listening session. Is how do we see deep funding rounds evolve, and what kind of pools do we want to have in there? I have a few ideas there. And for instance, would it be better to have each round consist of what there is right now, plus RFPs, plus maybe some hackathon winners, plus maybe a partner project that does a partner project that wants to sponsor a pool? Or would it be better if we would have all the options to have that separated in rounds, to have one round just for RFPs, one round for completely open for community things, one round that is tightly connected to a hackathon that we do, and then the best projects or whatever get an option to get funded, etc. Or maybe something in between, some kind of combination. So that also ties to the date. So I was thinking about having an intermediate round with just RFPs, also to test the platform and not have a full-fledged thing the first time around. But the thing is, there's still functionality that needs to be made for that, so that at least will take some time. But maybe at the end of this year, at the beginning of next year, we are ready to make that decision, and then we know where we are with the platform, with the RFP thing, maybe some other things that are improving. But yeah, one thing so we are now working on getting that platform onboarding improved. So I hope beginning of next year we'll have a better situation there as well. And when we have that situation, that onboarding is, well, really easy, or at least relatively easy, that opens the door for things like a hackathon. And then when we have a hackathon, it would be great to have a number of people that work on the hackathon also offer their proposals for further funding and development to a kind of deep funding round. So there are a lot of exciting things, I think, ahead of us, and a lot of variables also and moving parts, which makes it a little bit hard to put a date on it right now.
That's great. Thanks.
And a lot of stuff that we can discuss about in next town halls and listening sessions. So how about today? Thanks a lot, Rojo, for your presentation. I think we had a good discussion about it. So what are the next steps?
Next step from our side is actually dealing with the milestones and the contracts in terms of reviewing. That's for the whole team. once some of
I was referring to something else. Yeah, sorry, I'm interrupting you. So you have done the process. You have the top 10. Will you publish the top 10, or first see if there is somebody who has any objection to this process that you outlined, or?
So, yeah, the next step for that, as a short-term step, let's say, is waiting until Sunday to get feedback. Again, for feedback, I believe, I don't remember the email, but Raphael knows the email. What was the email, Raphael? Okay, Raphael, I guess he's gonna write it. Yeah. So in case there is any feedback from any of you about the process and the methodology, then yeah, gladly write down there and we can stay in touch, talk about it. And that's by Sunday, right? After Sunday, then we're gonna basically discuss a proper way to disclose. I don't know if we're gonna disclose or not, but disclose basically the information about the results, which is people. Again, I don't know whether we should or should not disclose their names, privacy, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly fine to disclose their usernames. I mean, they're rewards. They're heroes. So and their names, their usernames are already on the platform, right? Everybody can see
that's
them.
true. That's true.
So I think it would be great to showcase these are our heroes. So can't imagine anybody no objection there.
And as I said, a lot of these guys, you know them. You read so many of their comments. They commented probably. If you have any proposal, they commented on your proposal. Some of them, at least, or most of them. Yeah, we're gonna disclose that, disclose the amount decided as a extra reward and this kind of stuff, and also again another blog post explaining in details the methodology, what happened, and we look forward to get your feedback on before that, you know, the blog post coming out and after the blog post, you know. Yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Cool. So if anybody would want to give feedback on this process, that might even, so if there's some very serious objection, let us know in the email address shared. I'm not promising that we will change anything. This is all quite experimental still, but it would be good to know that before we publish anything. So we'll have a deadline on that for Sunday end of day, and then if we didn't get any blocking remarks, quickly after that we will announce the awarded contributors and the related amounts. So great work once again. Well done. A new adventure, a new challenge, and a new aspect to deep funding. We already had the consent approach by the focus group that we started. Now we have this new manual review thing. We are inventing new things every round. So great stuff, I would say.
Just a small shout out, again, shameless plug from myself, but anyway. So if anyone would like to be involved in doing the experimentation of you know, between rounds, I believe developers work group from the Ambassador work group will be taking on that experimentation. We kind of just started the work group, so we need like people and, you know, getting involved. Like if you're doing any sort of development, analytics, whatever, yeah, just stay in touch. You can find us on Discord, and we'll look at the data. We'll dive deep into it, use some GPT, and see what we can, what awesome things we can present for the community.
Nice. We're continuing to analyze and trying to get smarter and smarter at this. And the greatest thing is that we do it with all of you together. Wonderful. Anything anyone wants to add some remarks or questions. I saw a lot of stuff in the meeting chat, but I really can't read and get my attention. I tried it a few times, but the result is I don't read well and I don't listen well. So it's a waste of my time and yours, possibly. So I'll leave that for what it is right now. But if there's anybody who wants to make any closing comments, then please go ahead. And if not, then we'll call it a night. We don't always have to fill 2 hours or more. So I think for a change, this is a good one. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Rojo. Thanks, others involved in this process. And thanks everybody contributing to the discussions here today. Appreciate it. We couldn't do it.
Thank you for joining, everybody. And again, huge thank you to the reviews circle. I mean, fantastic work. And let's continue the conversation next week. Same time, same place.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.